Oh, everybody's here. I see somebody rolling in. Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Ricardo. Good to see you, Lynn, Rue, Lefty Prof, always here. Oh, we got to schedule that. I'm sorry. I've been up against the wall again this week, and so things slip off my plate. But yeah, we got to schedule our meeting. Maybe we did. I got to go look at my calendar. Honestly, it's Friday. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a little bit of time to kind of catch up and kind of go through my emails, try to make sure I've talked with everybody. Thank you. I want to get it out there and I want to do it. I went to bed pretty frustrated. I was almost thinking of not talking this morning. Make sure to hit the hearts, please, everybody. That brings more people in. I was thinking of not talking this morning, but I feel better. I felt more positive this morning, and I just had to have a centering moment, also known as a good night's sleep, where I just kind of remembered, okay, good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'll leave it up to you. Just keep being on me, Lefty Prof, and we'll get something figured out. Yeah, please. I try really hard to answer everybody and do all the comments. This is actually the easiest way to get in touch with everybody, to just kind of have people remind me. But it's not because thank you for all the heart, and it's not because I'm being mean or dismissing anybody. I just sometimes stuff falls off my plate, and sometimes I just collapse from exhaustion. But a lot's been going on, and this has been a hard week, especially with the primaries and everything that happened. I interviewed yesterday that interview I did with Lisa Hamline. She works with the DNC down in Dallas. I hope you guys got a chance to watch that. That's over at my I'd rather be writing Substack. And she went through and she walked me through exactly what happened in Dallas. And so what I notice is that we get so many little tidbits of information. Hi, Judith. And remember, it's the oligarch-owned media, and they deliberately want us to fight against each other. And I wanted to emphasize, I made some notes for myself today and being more organized. But I wanted to emphasize to everybody, look, I want the Democrats to win. That's what I want. Everything I do, everything I write, everything I say is because I want the Democrats to win. And I've been really upset lately because what we know right now is that the Democrats have not won. I mean, this is irrefutable. We have to put emotion to the side for a minute and just examine our reality. Republicans have the presidency, even though I think that was a stolen election and he's an illegitimate president. He's an insurrectionist, so he shouldn't be serving. But I'll put that aside, and the Democrats allowed it. But I mean, the Republicans, again, yes, Ricardo says, me too. Shirley, good morning. We all want the Democrats to win. And what the Democrats have done up till now is not win. They don't have the House. They don't have the Senate. They don't have the presidency. They don't have the Supreme Court. And so, again, we just have to take a deep breath and look at what the Democrats have done up until now. And again, put all your frustration, put all your emotions aside, and just be analytical and recognize the strategies our Democratic leaders have used until now have not worked. They have not worked. It's irrefutable. They always turn around and try to blame us, but they are the ones who are responsible for getting the wins. They are the ones implementing the strategy. They're the ones spending our donation money. And they have failed. And what we need now, going into the midterms, is a recognition of what has not worked and a new strategy that has a chance of succeeding. But remember, I mean, the Democrats are not transparent. They promised to release their 2024 election audit, and they didn't. They buried it. And we need to see those things. We need to demand that they're transparent. And right now, there's just this flood, and I understand. So many people, they react. They get frustrated for a number of different ways. But what I want to say, too, is remember, we cannot the Democratic Party should not use the same strategies as the Republican Party, in the sense of voter intimidation. When the Republicans, as I say, I think they stole the White House. He came forward, our tyrant who said he'd be a dictator from day one. And he says, I have a mandate. Everybody has to comply with me now. Even though that vote was one of the historically closest votes in the nation's history. And one thing that's clear is if you win an election, it doesn't mean that the other people whose candidate didn't win have to just give up on their. Am I yelling at you? Emotion and logic aren't opposed to each other. Emotions are signals. I'm trying to be more precise in my wording because the logic emotion binary often gets mapped across male, female. Okay, well, it wasn't my intention to yell at you, Lefty Prof. I just wanted to be analytical for a second. I wasn't putting this as a male female thing because it's a lot of people who are pushing, the status quo strategy. But it wasn't my intention to yell at you. So okay, good. Good. Lefty Prof verified I wasn't yelling. So I don't know. What pronoun to use there. Lefty Prof is in. So I'll just leave it. Okay, good. So I got up on my thing. I wanted to say good to see you too, Murphy. I get worried when I feel I make people upset, and right now too. No. It's good. It's good, Murphy, because emotions are really high right here. Emotions are really high, and not you, Murphy. It wasn't you. And that's just kind of and I'm guilty of this too, because I get frustrated too. But again, after 2024, the Republicans claimed they had a mandate because they emerged victorious, even though it was this razor thin margin. And I think Democrats have to take a lesson from that because we don't like that. Just because they, you're distracting me now, Murphy. Just because they, appeared to have won the election doesn't mean we have to give up on our values. And that's a critical thing. This is a democracy. There's an exchange of ideas. And for everybody, there's a value. There's a line they will not cross. And I think I want to apply that now to the Democratic primary between Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. Because we're seeing among the Democrats this push that those who had supported Crockett should now just unilaterally turn and support Tallarico. And it doesn't work like that. Tallarico has to appeal to those voters. And I think this is the critical thing. The critical strategy that the Democrats have used, which has failed, and which has got us here, is their comply or die attitude. And what I'm telling you too is, look, I'm a person who's going to vote for my heart in the primaries. And then I'm going to vote, for the Democrat. There's no chance I'll vote for Republican in the general. But we have to remember that we are a diverse population. The United States of America is diverse. And there are people who have been very frustrated with me because there are some lines I don't cross, and I'm very worried about James Carville, who advises Tallarico. And just see if I can find the note. Carville was in the news the other day. He said something really misogynistic against her name is Ilhan Omar. I have to say her name right. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, and the problem is, and I keep calling it blue MAGA. The Democrats keep insisting on this strategy of entitlement. They talk a lot like the Republicans do, saying they have a mandate. Because they won a very narrow primary, they insist that the people that are on the losing side have nothing to say. And that is wrong. We will not have unity if we do that. The Democrats who win primaries have to appeal to Tallarico has to appeal to Jasmine Crockett's base. That requires respect. That requires listening and not dictating. And I know it's easier. I mean, we get on social media and it's easier to scream and yell, but we have to always remember, it's like if you're directly talking to me, you have an access to me where I can answer you. Whoops, I just spilled my coffee all over myself. Where I can directly answer you. You can't take out your frustrations at the Democratic Party on me. it does you no good. And all it does is drives us apart, and that creates further division. We, the people, have to be unified. And Judith says, hearing exaggerated Southern dialect reminds me of the hate face of that good old boy's mentality. Go and look in. I mean, a lot of people are passively consume the media and they passively consume politics. Go and look at some of the things that James Carville has said. He has said things that, in my opinion, are openly racist. And the problem in the United States, we see this, is that the Democrats demand compliance from black voters, but they refuse to stand up for black voters. That's why Democrats lose. It really is that simple. I mean, look at this primary. The GOP and I talked. They did everything they could to interfere. They did everything they could to interfere with the vote in Dallas. The establishment Democrats, which are included the Blue MAGA, which deliberately sabotages the party, was content to let the GOP manipulate the vote and interfere with the vote in Dallas because it defeated Jasmine Crockett. But the thing about primaries is primaries are a trial run. It's an opportunity under lower pressure, but still very high pressure, to make sure our voting system functions and it works. And when there are clear problems with the vote, you have to get them fixed. You have time to get them fixed before the general election. But the Democrats refused to do anything because they had their preferred candidate win that primary. So what's going to happen is likely, now they've pivoted to the black voters who supported Jasmine. They're pressuring them. And it's racist. The things that James Carville says are just blatantly racist. As a white person, my job to advocate. Of all things I do, I actively seek out black women and try to give them a bigger platform and listen to their perspective, because I realize my perspective is different. I want to understand, and I want to overcome the injustices in our society. And everybody who comes at me and says, Walter, now's the time to unify behind the primary winner, they're always white people. And they're applying that pressure, and then they get themselves really frustrated and angry. And it's like you're using a bad strategy, because it's not your job to pressure and get mad at the voters for not doing what you want them to. It is the job of the candidate to win those voters. And I mean, a lot of this started with Hillary, with her, get over yourself kind of comment. No wonder you lose when you say things like that. If you say things like get over yourself, the entitlement, the hubris of that. And this is the establishment perspective where they think they can spend millions of dollars lecturing us and say, well, if you don't vote for us, you're going to get them. If you don't vote for us, you're going to get them. Instead of saying, we hear you, we listen to you, we're going to do the things you want to do. Just because we won a narrow primary, we understand we cannot win the general without your support. So what do we have to do to earn your support? Our representatives work for us. We do not work for them. And they have got to drop this entitled attitude where they are tolerant of racism and sexism and homophobia and anti-woke ideology and everything that is MAGA and also Blue MAGA. And we have to embrace a different strategy because, as I said at the beginning, what the Democrats have done until now failed. They've failed. The strategy hasn't worked. So what I fear is going to happen is we've had the primaries. There was clear election interference in Dallas. That's not a conspiracy theory. It happened. The Republicans always cheat in elections. But Democrats are, in this case, content because their guy won. And now they're going to say, okay, the black community has to get behind us. How dare you? If you don't, you are responsible for this, even though it's their job to do the work. And then two things will probably happen when we have the actual general election. If Tallarico doesn't win, it'll probably be because Republicans interfered with the elections, and then the Democrats will blame the black community. And they've done this every single election. We have to stop doing it. The time has come for the Democratic Party. You can't just be anti-racist. You have to be actively anti-racist. You have to be doing things to end racism. That's what we have to do. That's the next step we have to take. All right, let me keep reading here a little bit. Yeah. Lefty Prof says, because as we decry blue no matter who, like everyone here does, what's the other option? Vote red hat or what? See? But the thing is, it's like blue no matter who is a good thing, but we have to be respectful, and we can't have this entitled attitude because the blue MAGA doesn't abide by blue no matter who. When Mamdani won, blue MAGA tried to sabotage that election. We can't pretend that's not happening. And we need to just pressure, because if you have Carville as a consultant in your campaign, you are driving away the black vote because he goes on the news all the time and says racist things. And then I get people, when I call him out, people attack me. And it's like, we have to recognize racism is a line in the sand for me. And I realize I've been saying this to people too. If we have one of those, if a Democrat wins a primary and he is anti-transgender people, I am not going to support that person, because it is my own personal integrity to defend the transgender community along with all other communities. Hard line. That can't be removed. And people that pressure me and say, well, if you don't get this person, we're going to get that person. That's like saying, this candidate wants to rape children and that candidate wants to murder children. And so if you don't vote for the candidate that rapes children, you are guilty of the candidate that murders children. It's like, look, I will not stand for either of those things. And I did need whatever candidate I vote for to advocate for the safety of all children. So you see how absurd these things are. And this viewpoint, the strategy that they're using. And you know what? I'm not naive. I know that they're probably not going to do it, but I need them to make those promises. And that's where this really gets to be ridiculous, because the DNC won't even normalize the arguments. They won't even say the words. Just lie to me. All you have to do is lie to me. Tell me you're going to fire Carville, denounce him, stop showing him in the papers. I mean, but just say it, even if you're still listening to him in secret. And they don't even want to change that level of messaging. And that's why the DNC loses, because those attitudes drive away people. And look, I want everybody to understand too, you can't argue with me. You can't take your frustrations out on me, because I'm just one person and I have limited influence. My voice gets to a lot fewer people than Carville's does when his words, his racist words and misogynistic words are printed in major papers. But beyond that, I'm telling you about how the voting public works. We've seen it again and again and again. You guys have to take logic out of the equation and just recognize the reality of what happens. There is a major divide in the United States over racism. The white community has to listen to the black community. That's what we have to do. We are not going to defeat this MAGA movement until members of the white community listen to the black community, because Democrats cannot get elected unless we have the vote of the black community. And that means protecting the black vote and listening to them respectfully when they talk about, what's going on in their life. I want the people to listen to the people here in my community too. But this dismissal, this lecturing, comments like Hillary Clinton saying, get over yourself, makes people stay home. And look, I'm not going to stay home. But I'm talking about the millions of people out there who have to vote, who all think about things differently. And it's easy to become frustrated because for you in your position, or me in my position, or other people in other positions, you think you can say, well, this path is clear. This is what we have to do to go forward. But you don't fully understand how other people live, people in diverse communities with diverse experiences, diverse beliefs. And so we have to take a step back and understand. You look at the patterns. And the pattern that we see over the last 20 years is Democrats losing, and then blaming the black community, and then lecturing the black community. And James Carville's kind of the face of that. He's the face of that. His strategy loses elections. I feel he is blue MAGA. That's my word for it. And by blue MAGA, I mean these people that vote to give money to ICE, Democrats who vote to give money to ICE, Democrats who are pro-life, which is an anti-humanistic or humanitarian position. It's a crime against humanity to deprive women of reproductive health care rights. And like I said, too, the good people out there on social media with platforms, when you get frustrated and say, hey, we need unity. Now's not the time. Quit saying mean things about, we have every right to be critical. of Democrats who are running primaries if they're using strategies that are going to lose. Because I want them to win. I want them to win. This is constructive criticism. What I would like to see Tallarico do is recognize what are the needs of the black voters he needs in order to win that Senate seat, and to treat them with respect, to go and listen to them, to go into those districts, because he needs all those votes, because it was close. It's not like he got a mandate. It was a very, very close primary, and he cannot win the Senate seat without those votes. And that's a fact. Now, people are saying, well, if you don't vote for us, you're going to get them. You have power. If you can't, if you are the deciding vote, if there is one vote that is the deciding vote, then you have all the power. And we've seen that again and again, too. All Manchin and Sinema had to do was vote for the Build Back Better bill, and we'd probably be sitting in, the second term of Biden or the first term of Kamala. And they rejected that. And that's the other problem. Because the Democrats, they will bend over backwards. They will bend over backwards to appeal to the moderate Republicans, but they actively insult progressives, and they attack progressives, and they lose. I wrote a post about it today because I was talking about Carville, and in it I wrote, Carville, Genocide Schumer, we need to start calling him that, Genocide Jeffries, and the other members of Blue MAGA are why we have fascism. I know the DNC has a comply or die attitude when it comes to progressives, LGBTQ+, the black community, and other marginalized groups. I know they are more interested in bending over backward to appease moderate Republicans, even as they ignore progressive. But that's what put MAGA in power. We need a true opposition strategy, or evil will become entrenched forever. We have to stop doing what they've done. And I realize, too, it has been normalized. There's a lot of people who are just repeating the things that the Democrats have lectured us with and pressured us to believe. But we, the people, have power. And one thing I want to say that's really important to everybody. My big takeaway from the interview I did yesterday with Lisa Hamline in Texas, and she's an organizer for the Democrat. They're doing great work. I was so excited to see, because there's so many good people on the ground doing so much important work. And she actually said the Senate race doesn't even matter. It's the ground up we have to build. And it's all those down ballot positions. And you have to go talk to your Democratic precinct, whoever is in charge. And if there is nobody, it has to be you. Because we have to make sure every one of these seats all the way down the ballot is filled with rational, decent, ethical people. And that is much more important. You create the groundwork that allows quality to rise to the top. And the Republicans have taken control of all those seats. So people please go out there and get involved in your local community, get involved in the downvote elections. I'm going to be interviewing as many of those people as possible. And again, I need everybody to just please be patient with me. There'll be times when I'll say things that stumble across your cognitive dissonance. But again, it's me and a handful of others, and then this massive group of Blue MAGA and all this money that wants to consolidate their power, and they want to take your power from you. And they're imposing upon you a strategy that has been proven not to work, where they are just going to turn around and blame black women and the black community again every time they lose. That's what they do over and over and over again. We have to pressure the Democratic Party to be actively anti-racist, not just. And we saw, you saw the current president. They said, do you oppose white supremacy? He's like, sure. That's not what we need. We need people who denounce white supremacy, people who actively work to undermine and remove racist mechanisms in our society. DEI is the opposite of racism. And by removing DEI, the Republicans demonstrate that they are pro-racism. And that's really one of the fundamental issues here. But we have to have respect for our neighbors, and it's just social media is built to make us fight with each other. We can overcome that, but we have to listen to other perspectives. And again, the strategy that they're pushing has been proven not to work. So let me read some more here. Facts. Thank you, Judith. Lefty says, Carville is an old man looking for relevance. Can't believe anyone is still. Yeah, see, but Lefty Prof, he's always in the paper. I see him reported in the paper, and Tallarico has hired him. And I think it's really important. He's a consultant for Tallarico's campaign. And that drives the Black community away. I mean, I talk to a lot of these, what's the word? Activists, Black people who are activists, and they say that. And then it's like the white people are like, well, he's irrelevant. Somebody even wrote, it was an interesting comment. It was revealing, but they say, quit posting him. I mean, he's irrelevant. As if it's my fault, because I was posting him to denounce what's going on. And it's like, again, I'm very small in all of this. I mean, Carville has a lot bigger platform than I do. And he's out there spewing these old, kind of outdated, proven to fail strategies because I feel he is a Republican. I feel he deliberately wants Democrats to lose. And your donation money goes to him. And we have to do something about this. It does us no good to win a seat if the guy we put into that seat then votes with the Republicans. We've seen that with Cuellar. They just posted, there was a bunch of Democrats who voted. Yeah, here it is. Anthony Christian, he's great. I got to get him on here. He says, these are the names of the senators who crossed party lines and voted for and against the War Powers Resolution today. So Warren Davidson and Thomas Massie are the two Republicans who voted to halt, the president's war powers. But Democrats who voted against the resolution, Henry Cuellar, and he's been awful. I mean, he's that pro-life Democrat. He's the guy who got pardoned. We shouldn't be giving our money. No, none of your donation money should be going to Henry Cuellar, Jared Golden, Greg Landsman. He's from ME. Greg Landsman, Ohio, and Juan Vargas. So those are blue MAGA. If they're voting against halting the president's ability to wage war, blue MAGA. And it's like, look, we don't need those incumbents. It does us no good to spend our time and energy getting men elected who don't vote in favor of the Democratic position. If they want to appeal to moderate Republicans, they should run as moderate Republicans. They're saboteurs. And that is the reason why, nobody fought back when the election was stolen from Kamala Harris. The Democratic Party doesn't stand up for our Black women. I mean, where's the support for Stacey Abrams? Oh my gosh, we should be building statues for Stacey Abrams. She got Georgia organized. They turned around and then robbed the governorship from her. That was another stolen election. Republicans steal elections. Republicans do everything they can to particularly disenfranchise our Black community. And until the Democrats start standing up and not just listening, because it's like, again, we have to be actively anti-racist. Instead of just listening to the Black community, we also have to ensure that the Black community has the right to vote, because they keep getting that right stolen from them. And then when Democrats lose, they blame lack of turnout. Again and again, we keep hearing, why do people have to stay in line for 10 hours? That's vote suppression. You should be able to go in and vote, and it should take 10 minutes and leave. That capacity, there should be an amendment. It should never take more than 10 minutes to vote. And Democrats have had the power to make sure this happened, and they refuse to do things like that because they are quite content with vote suppression. And we have to not act like this isn't the case. We have to take on these strategies. And again, as I was going to say, there's a line in the sand for everybody. And our candidates have to recognize that. It's like, I'm not going to vote for somebody if he is transgender rights. I'm not going to vote for that person. And I'm not going to be quiet about it either. I'm not going to listen to people say, Walter, we have to win the seat. We must win. Be quiet about it. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. I am never going to stop talking. I am never going to stop talking. And those people that are spending their energy telling me I shouldn't make these valid criticisms. Now, if somebody's making an invalid criticism or lying, yes, you have to shout them down. But people who are making valid criticisms deserve to be heard. And you have to turn your pressure to these candidates. Because it's up to the candidates to create unity. It is not the job of the publication to comply. They can't win without our vote. They need us. They have to treat us with a little bit more respect. And again, it starts with Hillary. Hillary Clinton is the first person who was like, get over yourself. I voted for her, but other people are not. See, and that's the thing. You can't sit there and tell me I'm wrong because I don't speak for the whole country. All I'm doing is observing. Don't shoot the messenger, please. This attitude of get over yourself guarantees you're going to lose. and the Democrats have to stop doing it and stop pushing it. And all the wonderful people on platforms like this, all the wonderful influencers, have to start recognizing that. They have to change their strategy. They have to push back against the fake strategies, the losing strategies of the Blue MAGA and the DNC. And we have to embrace a strategy of unity and mutual respect and understanding. And it's funny because I'm saying this, and this whole week I've had so much hostility for expressing my position on this. Please tell me what you think is wrong with what I'm saying. I want to win. I want to win. We will not win if the DNC refuses to denounce people like Carville and other members of Blue MAGA that vote against the interests of the people. That is the truth for you. All right. Let me scroll down. I've been kind of chatting. Judith says, please listen to Black women, period. Absolutely. And I mean, you just look at it. Of all the people in our society, and there's other groups, but Black women have been targeted for so much abuse and suffering and mistreatment. I mean, we've seen, presidency. They've had the presidency stolen from them. How can you know the pain of that? I can't. And to then say, "Oh, get over it. We have to win. Get over it. We have to win." Unless you implement justice, you have to implement justice. We're not going to win. You have to actively, and when you see injustices, even if I'm a white man. If I see injustice committed against a Black woman, I have to speak out. And it protects me. It protects my kids. And more white people have to do this. We have to speak out against the injustice that's constantly imposed upon Black women. And if we do that, if we are actively anti-racist, we win. This whole thing, what we're in right now, is because of just apathy. The apathy and the hubris and the entitlement of the white population. It's not as bad as all that. It's not bad. Just get over yourself. It's not bad. Just be quiet. And we're here, where kids are getting rounded up. The Republicans are actively committing genocide in the United States. They're rounding up Roman Catholics. They're rounding up Christians from South America who have done nothing wrong, because you can cross the border and apply for asylum. The white population, it's not that. Don't call it that. There is voter suppression in every election. White population, get over it. Why do you got to pull out the race card? Why do you got to say it's election fraud? And then vote for us. You have to vote for us, or you're going to get that. We have that. You have to do something different. And there's just constant pressure where people get, and then so many people get so frustrated, because they are, they're passively absorbing what's going on in politics. They're passively absorbing. So they're just kind of listening to it. It's like there's people in power are saying all this nonsense. They're defecating on us every time they speak. People are like, I just don't want to hear it. And it's just like, Walter, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Let's just do what they're saying and just win. And it's like, if we do what they say, we will lose. And you look back. Just look back. We lost and we lost and we lost. And honestly, too, again, everybody, up until 2024, and I have a lot of my good friend Will Fullwood, he was always talking to me, his criticisms of the Democratic Party. And I was like, it's like, I just want to get Kamala in. I'm putting all my effort into getting Kamala elected. And then, it's like, and then the party, I read Kamala's book. I read a lot of stuff, people, and it's very clear that party did not support her. And I've listened to Natasha Kaye, and she talks about how the party didn't support her. They were quite willing to use bad strategies and ineptitude and incompetence. And they were willing to just not do anything in the face of injustice. And now we've got what we got now with all these people getting killed. We're dropping bombs on children's schools and killing little kids. And, we're protecting child rapists. So we have to do something different. And, we gotta push back against Blue MAGA, because what they're doing, I mean, they could have shut down the government and not signed and not allowed the big, beautiful bill. So all that funding, and then later stages, they were giving more money. There's people voting to give money to ICE. And that's a line in the sand. I will not vote for a candidate who gave any money to ICE. I don't give a shit. I'll stay home. I need people. And it's like, and if they get all mad at me and say, look, it's not me. You're the one making the decision not to denounce that act. All you have to do is denounce that act. Denounce it. But if they're spending all their energy telling me I have to be quiet, like I'm the problem, I don't have any power. I have I love all you people. It's a good group of people, and I really appreciate you. This is minimal power, though. So the people that turn around and try to accuse me of being the problem, you're part of the problem. It's on you. That's nonsense. All these lies. Well, that person's not electable. That's just pure racism, what you just said. And it's just all this passive stuff. And it's white supremacy talks and dog whistles. They hide the things they say. Blue MAGA is exactly the same. The president said he had, the illegitimate president, he said he had a mandate. And now Blue MAGA is trying to say, well, this person won a primary, so he has a mandate. You all have to comply with him. We don't. We don't. He has to. You have to be different. You have to be better than MAGA. You can't be Blue MAGA. You have to be actively anti-racist. You have to consolidate your voter base so you win. It is the responsibility of the candidate to listen to the people and to adopt the positions, not impose his beliefs upon us. He has to listen to us. That's what the Democrats have to do. And they are trying so hard to be the Republicans. And all the people want is a political party that will fight for us and will listen to us. I need everybody to understand that, because you're going to get a lot of pressure. We're already subjected to constant pressure from MAGA, and there's equivalent pressure from Blue MAGA. And in my article, I wrote an article about James Carville the other day, and I said he's the biggest problem. It's those moderates like Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the moderates are the biggest obstacle to equality because they just enable these abuses. And when I wrote my article about that, I said, you're wrong. We got to fight MAGA. We got to win. We got to keep MAGA out of there. And it's like you're acting like Carville's a bigger problem than MAGA, and I think he is, because he sabotages our ability to have unity. It's Carville. Carville's the one that's preventing us from coming together. It's not me. I'm just pointing out the problem. Don't kill the messenger, please. Folks like Carville, who is a respected member within the Democratic establishment, who often goes on the news to spew what I believe is racist and misogynistic garbage, he drives voters out of the party. He's the guy that makes people stay at home, and then when they lose, they turn around and blame the Black community. Rinse, wash, wash, rinse, repeat. That's all they ever do. And we need something different. All we have to do is have respect for the Black community, listen to people, and insist. Don't get mad at your friends if they have criticisms about Tallarico. Instead, listen to your friends and say, I agree with that. I'm going to call up. I'm going to ask. I'm going to see what I can do. And we're going to all together come together, because we, the people, are the ones with the power. But just consider it too, Nobody ever calls them Genocide Jeffries and Genocide Schumer. Those are the guys that take more AIPAC money than anybody. They don't use it there. And we never have this thing too. Like, I get so much pressure when I tell people, look, if you're pro-life, you're a white supremacist. And we have members that, you have Democrats to be like, nobody's perfect. We have to accept beliefs we don't agree with. It's like, well, what about me? I don't accept your beliefs. I don't accept your beliefs. I think we need to be actively anti-racist. Come on now, Walter. If you don't join the program, you're part of the problem. So why are they so tolerant of these extreme views on the right? But there's absolutely none of that. I don't get any of that courtesy. And that's why the Democrats lose. That's why they have to, the candidates. Again, it's up to the candidates to consolidate the party. It's not the responsibility of the voting base. They keep blaming voters when they lose, and then there's not enough space at the polls for everybody to show up because there's vote suppression. All right, let me keep going here. Yeah, the will of the people is being ignored. Yeah, by design. And we have to stop. And this is part of it. Stop repeating arguments from Blue MAGA and the establishment that continually fails and blames us. It's them. Our representatives are the ones who failed. We are not a monolith. Exactly. Good. Lefty Prof. Judith. White women disappoint white women too. Yeah. And there's so many different levels here we have to understand. A lot of it is just because of that passive absorption of the media. A lot of it is because of the high pressure tactics. A lot of people are sincerely trying to do what they think is the right thing to do. And it's like, we have to have these polite conversations. I had somebody who was really, really frustrated with me this morning because I keep attacking Carville. And they said, well, Carville is like, you disagree with Carville's math? And I'm like, I do disagree with Carville's math, because he's the one who is a saboteur who's pushing people away. He's insulting people. He's pushing away the votes we need. And when people get really frustrated, and I've known this is me too, frustration is a sign that you're not thinking about things correctly. Like, I was really frustrated after the election because I thought the American people were going to vote for Kamala. And all my friends in the Black community said they knew this was going to happen. My wife wasn't frustrated by it at all. She's like, yep, knew that's what they are. And so when you're frustrated, it's because you're thinking something that's wrong and you're trying to bend reality to match what you perceive. And when you accept reality, you have more power and you don't feel as much frustration. Vantage Point says. But Walter, can you agree that it's the majority of white people like the position that they are in and do not want to be out of power? It's their apathy that makes the system. Yeah, I mean, I think I said that, didn't I? Vantage Point? That's pretty clear to what I said. And we have to wake them up. We have to make them understand that this injustice, I mean, it's encroaching upon them. But the time is now, I mean, and there's so many people that get frustrated and they're like, "Hey, time is now's the time to unify, Walter. You can't say these criticisms." And it's like I'm the one providing the constructive criticism because I want the Democrats to win. So please listen. And also just never tell me not to speak. I'm never, never, never going to listen to that. You can have a I will listen to what you say, and if your argument has merit, I will adopt it and I will admit I'm wrong, but I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to stop speaking. I'm not going to fail to say, this, well, there's never a perfect candidate, correct? But I demand a candidate who is not racist. And it's like, and if you they want to transpose those terms, well, nobody's perfect. Yeah, but some people haven't raped kids, and those are the ones I want in office. So quit using it's like, what are the crimes? Let's be specific here. Talk about the crimes. Because there's lines. And I know a lot of the people that are attacking me and say, hey, we have to have unity. There are lines, if there was a candidate that was anti-transgender rights, then they would be talking out against that. And if they were anti, a number of different policies, they would talk out and they have the right to talk out because we have to influence our politicians and make them know what the will of the people is. Anybody who's sitting there telling people to be silent, if they're speaking legitimate concerns, is incorrect. Now, you do have to tell people to be silent if they're lying, if they're spreading lies about a candidate. That is inappropriate. But people who are real people, who are speaking their concerns, deserve to be listened to. We can have a respectful debate, but screaming at each other in notes and on chat threads isn't going to help. Lefty says, how do we hold them responsible for that entitlement? I mean, the ground level, the more we can do. I mean, right now it really feels like the down ballot votes where we get into office and we ensure elections are fair is one of the best things we can do. We can't be apathetic about that. And it's a sacrifice of time and regular people. Just any office that you can find, do that and continue to just spread these truths. But yeah, the down ballot stuff is where the country is determined. That's those are often the most important things. They control these massive budgets. People down below. I mean, it's 10 million, 15 million, 100 million here and there. Put people in those offices to control those budgets. Make sure decent people like me are funded because it's like I am deliberately cut out from the media, deliberately suppressed. This voice is because I talk against the establishment, the abuse establishment that never works. So it's really important. I mean, if we could and this is a hard year anyway, if we get to a point where common sense becomes a little bit more respected and rational thinking becomes a little bit more respected, it'll be easier, but everybody's just scratching by right now. So yeah, we have to get to the point and we support the voices that are speaking reason and don't just get into threads and attack them. That guy on Wednesday who was just he was restacking my post but introducing them with just really misleading stuff who I eventually blocked. Well, they're coming out of the woodwork to attack me. So yeah, the attitude of entitlement, and that's it. That's it. I mean that hubris. I mean, in 2016, hubris lost. Hubris lost that race. Telling people to get over themselves. Hi, Kat. Good to see you here. Howard said, "So you would not vote then?" No, I would vote. But the thing is, it's not about me. I want to tell you, it's the mass of the people. And that's where people get a mistake. Because I'll have this discussion I'm talking about. It's like, this is not a winning strategy. People say, Walter, if you don't vote, you're going to be. And it's like, look, I am going to vote. But I'm talking about the million people of diverse opinions and diverse backgrounds. We have to listen to them. And you screaming at them to vote, a lot of them are going to stay home. And look, you just have to accept I am the messenger on this. This is mass psychology. You can't change mass psychology by screaming at me. I'm not the one who determines mass psychology. The things I write about don't have that big of an influence on millions of people. People are going to know when they're disrespected. And just because I'm trying to burst the bubble of this establishment lie, It's like they're mad at me because I'm not allowing them to try to brainwash and to blame innocent groups for their mistakes. And then the frustration comes in. But it's like we have to just accept the reality. It is up to the candidates to gain the trust and the support of enough votes to win office. You cannot blame the voters. It comes down to that. Because the voters, number one, nobody protects the voters' right to vote. Number two, you make them stand in line for 20 hours. You don't defend, you don't go and have recounts. You don't even investigate. And then you turn around and lose and you say, well, it's because the black community didn't support us. That's racist. That is a racist strategy. And Blue MAGA has been pushing this racist strategy to the point where it's become normalized. People assume that's the way politics is done. And yeah, it's always a uphill climb. When a person like me comes along and say, look, your fundamental way of doing things for the last 20 years is deeply flawed. It's deeply racist. It contributes to loss after loss. And I am always going to vote. I'm going to vote for the Democratic candidate. My vote's going to be counted because I'm a white male and nobody tries to vote suppress me. But we're still going to lose these elections because we need those other groups to win. And we have to be respectful. We have to have respect for other groups. So I hope that was clear. That's a really important point. I'm going to cover that again and again and again because the Democrats have this entitled attitude about their voter base. They think they should be handed these wins, and they're fine when they lose because they have millions of dollars anyway. That was a great question, though. I appreciate that. Judah says, after Jasmine's loss, lots of black women from Texas, my group, feel disengaged. Many say they will not vote. And so that's critical that is respected. That feeling has to be respected. It's up to James Tallarico to respect that they feel disenfranchised, unheard. They have to be heard. They have to be seen. They have to know that the person that they vote for is going to fight for them. Otherwise, they're not going to vote. That's how this works. And when Democrats get all huffy and think that they are entitled, I mean, the Democratic approval rating is as low as the Republicans. We have to change that. We have to make it so the Democrats have a positive approval rating. It's really dangerous, the game they're playing now. And apathy of these entitled jerks is a big part of it. Let me keep scrolling down. Why can't we all agree to put pointed pressure on the DNC? Yeah, I mean, call up all your representatives. Martin would be a person. But we have to get rid of Carville. If we could just get Carville out of the system, call up Tallarico and say, hey, quit listening to Carville. I think he's racist. And just, all of us speak up. But it's really important even on social media because I've got so many over this week. People just attacking me like, Walter, now's the time to unify. It's like we have to unify by listening to the people whose votes we need in order to win. We have to, and again, it's really, really hard because everybody has been indoctrinated with this idea that, we just have to go with what the establishment says. And they're completely incompetent. And they keep voting against us. We gave them, again, everybody, please remember, in 2020, we gave the establishment Democrats everything they needed to stop this. They had the presidency, the House, and the Senate. And they failed. They just didn't do it. They're just apathetic. And winning the midterms, if we put in a bunch of apathetic candidates, isn't going to win. That's not a strategy for victory. We're not going to defeat MAGA that way. We're not going to defeat fascism that way. We need the Democratic Party to become an actively anti-racist party. They have to actively work for us. They have to actively listen to us. They have to put aside their entitlement and their hubris. And they have to listen to the people. And they have to stop with this attitude of, well, if you don't vote for me, you're going to get them. And start with, what do we have to do to earn your vote? And they have to listen to us. The Democratic Party has to listen. It works. And we've tried their way again and again and again. Failure after failure after failure. And again, I'm the messenger. I personally am going to vote for Democrats in all elections. The question is if enough people will, particularly if the establishment continues to insult the marginalized, and if they don't stand up for the transgender community, and if they don't defend DEI programs, which are the opposite of racism. All right? Pretty important. I just got to repeat the same thing over and over again. Walter, they can't get pass, okay? Neurodivergent says yes. Lefty Prof for rolling wave of pressure in the DNC, yes. And we have to be polite to each other is a big one too, because I've had so many people I lost a lot of subscribers because I'm talking about these things. Because people get that idea of, hey, you have to don't start with these criticisms. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. And it's like, look, we have to respectfully talk about implemented strategy that's actually going to work. I've only got about 10 more minutes because I got another talk at 9:30. So I'll try to get to the end of these questions here. Yep, they need to earn our vote. Judah, absolutely right. They need to earn our vote, and they can't demand it. They can't feel they're entitled to it. They can't get past their own bigotry. And we have to call out the racism of the Democrats. I call them blue MAGA. Fetterman is blue MAGA. Cuellar is blue MAGA. Jeffries and Schumer are blue MAGA. They are rolling over and allowing fascism to run us down. And we have to defeat blue MAGA in the Democrats, and then we'll be able to defeat MAGA in the Republicans. Lefty Prof, black women are the most reliable Democratic voters on this planet. Yep, and they deserve to be respected and elevated and celebrated and listened to. And the DNC does so much work to suppress that vote, but then they demand it in the midterm. They suppress it in the primaries, they demand it in the general, and then they blame the black women when they lose. And that's a recipe for loss. It's a recipe for fascism. That the DNC does not cater to them yep, absolutely. Good morning, Courtney. Who can we target to pressure? Call up your local representative. Everybody. We just have to make this. I think targeting James Carville is an effective one because he is so representative of everything that's wrong with the Democrats. We can get them to denounce him. That would send a very strong. That would all by itself. That would turn a lot of the voters who might sit at home in the Texas Senate race. If we denounce James Carville and just resolve to do better, and people will feel heard and they will vote. I think that's the key to winning in Texas. If we want to get if you want to get Tallarico in, if you don't denounce James Carville, I don't know if Tallarico's going to win. Well, we got to keep pressure. We got to keep the pressure up. Vantage Point says that will not work. They know the benefits they enjoy and I don't want them to end, but they are ending. I mean, this regime is ending all the benefits, so we have to see a way out of it. And it requires this strategy and embracing a positive strategy that can actually work. No more donations to the DNC. Absolutely not. Give them to the up and coming progressive candidates. And that's the other thing I was talking about. Tallarico's got all this money. We should be pressuring Tallarico to be funding all these other races in Texas. They need to win everything. He's got ample money. He can fund it, and we got to do that. These state races in the state, the high profile candidates have to help the lower profile candidates. Can't just be all about them. What are your thoughts on the Noah Mullen? Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, it's just blatant corruption. I don't even hardly think about how corrupt the Republicans are at this point. I mean, yeah, it's awful. And then we'll have to keep. Do they have to vote to? Does there have to be a vote to get Mullen in the position? Because if anybody who votes for that guy is also blue MAGA, any Democrats who do. Vandervoort says no, their power comes from the same donors that donate. Yeah, that's a problem too. Yeah. But we can win the messaging. We have to take back the messaging. Lefty Prof says, Cheryl, it's like, yeah, shitting your pants and changing your shirt. That is kind of true. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, keep spitballing ideas, Lefty Prof. These are brainstorming sessions. What I do. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you I have all the answers, but we do just need to make the Democrats. We have to put it. The number one most important thing is we can't use the same DNC strategy that has got loss after loss, and we can't just comply. They're comply or die. That's why I call it blue MAGA, because that's a MAGA argument. We have to do what they say. We're not allowed to ask questions. We're not allowed to provide constructive criticism. That's why the DNC has a blue MAGA element. We need rational thinking. We need to embrace people who say, maybe we should try this. We need to embrace respect and diversity and compassion and listening to people. All right. That's why I keep interviewing on these candidates too. I interview all these people so I can take your concerns. And even though, it's all processing through my brain as I scroll through your comments. You program me so I get a better idea of what you're saying. And then it comes back out when I'm talking to these candidates. This is what so-and-so said, even if I don't remember who said it. But these issues are really important. We have to make these issues part of the national strategy. Talking with Lisa Hamlin yesterday, and she was just talking the importance of these down ballot races. People just need to be activated to go out and vote. That's really, really important. I'm praying that Troy Green makes it through the primaries and heads to the general election and takes that seat, makes it blue again. Yeah. Rumor has it, and this is Cheryl, rumor has it that it's going to appoint Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't yeah, that's something different, so we'll see. Lefty Prof, do you know if there is any way to find out all the elections in the United States for November, like from dog catcher to president? Does the DNC I know that I check, what's on my ballot, frequently, and just to see what elections are coming up, because sometimes the oligarch media doesn't present when elections are happening. Check what's on my ballot, and you have to do the research. But yeah, there's a spring election, I think, coming up. I think it was 47 days here. I don't know if every state has that, if that's just my state. Okay, how about if we really learn Spanish? Sí, tenemos que hablar español. Y de verdad voy a ir a buscar esa comunidad española aquí en mi ciudad, en mi pueblo, y a ver qué quieren o cuáles son sus necesidades. But yes, learn to speak Spanish. That'll reprogram your brain right there. Who has to overcome racism? The United States. Everybody does. We have to defeat racism. Racism is the founding shame of this country. We have to fix it. Hi, Miranda. Nice to see you too. Thank you for being here. Yeah. White people have to stand up, and this is really the important thing that I try to do because I listen, I go and talk as much as I can to my wonderful, brilliant members of the Black community, and then I turn around and talk to white people because a lot of the things I said today, if a Black person was saying it, they'd just be like, "Oh, they'd just be dismissive." So it's really important for white people to talk about how the extent to which racism and disrespect for the Black community is a cancer in the DNC, and that's why the Democrats lose. Yeah, really important message. Did the group Stacey Abrams started to operate outside of Georgia? I don't know about that one, Courtney. I should look into that. Okay, Lefty says yes. I believe God, I'd love to get her. I'd love to talk to her. I mean, that would be wonderful. Yeah, if she oh man, I would be overwhelmed with joy if she came on. I reached out to Ruby Bridges too. I mean, that would be wonderful. Um, maybe she would. If somebody knows Stacey Abrams, I would love that. They just simply understand it's wrong. Well, I mean, vantage point. We have to make deliberate efforts to be anti-racist, and it starts by not teaching U.S. history like it's the Epstein files. We have to teach U.S. history like it actually happened. We have to teach the truth. I mean, racism is. There's Natasha. Hi, Natasha. Um, Racism is fused with American ideology, and it has to be removed, like bone cancer. Carefully extracted. It's a big job, but that's what we have to do. But it starts with just telling Tallarico to say, look, you have to appeal to the Black community whose vote you need to win. And you can't have this entitled attitude that they must vote for you. That argument fails. Lecturing, when white people lecture Black people, they lose elections. When white people listen to Black people respectfully, they win. That's what we have to take away from this. I don't know why that's all controversial. And I have so many people screaming at me for saying that. It's like, just be courteous. Have some respect for people that don't look like you, who have a different perspective. Everybody's got a line in the sand. Like I said, you have to listen to what their line in the sand is for them. And just lie too. It's what I'm saying. It's like you're telling these politicians, just lie and say you'll stand up for them, but they refuse to even lie, which is the weird thing. They refuse to even lie. They're politicians. They don't know what to do besides lie. And they won't even pretend to support these groups to get elected, and then they turn around and lecture those groups and blame them? Something. I mean, that's just what else can you call it? That's just racism. Yep. Natasha K, good to see you. Oh, I keep adding Ken Martin in the DNC directly with my articles and posts. Okay. No more comments, though, please. I'll scroll down to the end. I got a thing to do here in 15 minutes. But thank you, everybody. I love all your comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ricardo. Natasha says, the more the gaslight lie to me, because I was there and went through the racism on the inside, the more angry I get. I say to them every day, all this is just gaslight. And yeah, I mean, and we have to avoid those moments of frustration because Natasha K is your ally and I'm your ally. So if I say something you don't agree with, don't just instantly block me or get mad at me. Just take a second to breathe and then we'll talk. I'd be happy to talk about people and we can debate what we should do going forward. But don't block people because the DNC wants us to be divided just like the Republicans do. All right. Yeah, here's the problem. Right is right, wrong is wrong. How can I get white people to see the wrong and what to do to think with? Well, it starts by just talking, and you'll see. We start pressure. Every one of us can do it, and we support Vantage Point. A great way would be to support me, so become a paid subscriber. But I'm going to continue to have these conversations, and we'll continue to talk about those strategies. Let me just keep rolling down. Apathy is the problem. I want to get these all done, but I am going to have to leave here in just a minute. Natasha says they could have done a lot of things. Yep, they didn't fight Trump's. Oh, yeah, all that stuff. They're awful. It's the blue MAGA that just rolls over and gives red MAGA everything it wants. Lefty says, what if we put together a report of DNC's strategy failures to distribute that clearly shows the results of their strategies in simple terms people can digest? Yeah, but I just think, yeah, do that. Please do that. Do that. Tag me in it, and then we'll build on that idea. I think that's really important. Please do that. And tag me a lot. And things that I talk about in these articles, write articles about them, please, and tag me in those, and I'll respond, and we'll continue to have ongoing conversations. The messaging. I approach this from the messaging. You guys have different talents. Use your talents and build. This doesn't belong to me. We want to win. We want the Democrats to win. Yeah, I'm good at fixing the messaging or changing the messaging in certain ways, but yeah, please. Can't just be just data. I want to see. Yes, please, Lefty, do that. Uh, okay, I'm not going to read that, but that was funny. Lefty says, yeah, okay. I'm just going to skip that. Yes, and Nick Paro is always big about that. We can't use misogynistic terms, but calling like the Democrats a bunch of weak testicles is a better. There was a big line in the comments about that was kind of funny. So yeah, Courtney Kamala did win. Kamala did win. She got cheated. Let's just continue. And the Democrats refuse to stand up and fight against election fraud. They just don't fight against election fraud. Okay. I don't know if Tallarico is. I don't think he is. But if he's pro-life, that's a no-go. I will not vote for a Democrat who's pro-life. That's white supremacy. I think he actually is pro-choice, though. I think Tallarico. I saw that Tallarico. I want to be fair. I saw that Tallarico was defends transgender community, so that actually surprised me, and that's good. But yeah, I guess I don't know for sure. I'll double check that one. I'm an English teacher. So am I, Teacher Rhetoric. The rhetorical strategy we use to craft. Yep, and I usually pivot a lot of Republican lies because they're actually really good at their BS, and actually Blue Mag is too with their nonsense. Well, we have to peel them out of Republic. Nobody's perfect. That's all just BS. People won't look though. They don't want to look things up. Yeah. Well, we'll build on that though, Natasha. I have some ideas. Once Lefty does what Lefty was thinking of doing, then I'll be inspired by it too. That's how we do. We inspire each other. Yeah. It sounds simple. I'm just scrolling here quick. I want to read it. Oh, and Courtney's offering to help. So yeah, please just jump in on each other. And when they do these things, helping each other is how we do this. I enjoy a good debate. Really find anyone on the right willing to have an honest discussion. We got to find the people you debate with are Blue MAGA. Those are the ones don't even worry about the people on the right. Worry about Blue MAGA. We have to change their minds. Many people I know are spreading lies, believing they're the truth. Yep, and that hands around. But we have to correct those two. Some people can be reclaimed, some people can't. But that's a case by case thing there. Yeah, Lefty, do that work. Great, they're working. I love the collaboration happening in the chat. Now, Carville's awful. We absolutely have to get rid of Carville. Carville is a toxic influence who sabotages the DNC. Yeah. Alice says, don't worry about delayed reactions or not reacting. I'm looking at the screen the whole time and miss comments. Yep, Tallarico has to reach out to the black. He absolutely has to. Vantage point. Where are we now that black people are tired of trying to wait until white people get it? We withhold or vote, period. I know most would say, well, the Democrats have to they have to read the room and they have to appeal to the black community. They have to make those promises because the old way is gone. We're in a moment of recalibration. And the old way is not going to work anymore. We need a new strategy. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result isn't going to work. Yeah, I like what you're saying here, Natasha. I don't have time to address that right now, but I'll keep going. Good morning, Joanna. Yep, they need to act like the opposition party. They're too cowardly, and they have to stop working with the moderate Republicans. The whole Republican Party is off the deep end at this point. Yep, and there we go. Ace Jones, do your own research and vote for those against the establishment. I keep interviewing them. Just determine your own thing after you talk to these people, but see the kind of people I'm interviewing and what our candidates can actually be like and demand that. Yeah, I think we need to not be Democrats. We certainly can't give them any money. Lento, por favor. Perdón. State government is usually the best place. Yep. And make sure you vote in all your please vote every election. I'm invited to the barbecue. Thank you, Judith. I appreciate it. I love a good barbecue. Working Families Party. Yep, do that. Somebody moved to Spain. Yeah, I learned it in Peru. Stacey Abrams was great. If white people did what it takes to be invited to the barbecue, the world would change. And that's my job. I'm trying to influence more white people. Yeah. Well, yeah. That Democrats, they lose because they don't appeal to the black vote, and then they blame the voters, and we can't allow that anymore. All right, thanks, neurodivergent. See you. And all right, I'm just gonna scroll down all the way to the end. Oh, good, I was there. All right. Yep. I hope this is yeah, and I'm gonna continue to platform Francesca Hong. Holy cow, she could get in. Please, please, please vote for Francesca Hong. I gotta go. I got another talk here in 10 minutes. So this has been a hopefully a useful thing. Again, don't shoot the messenger. We can't let the DNC impose upon us the same entitled strategy that has caused loss after loss. That's all I'm trying to say. And we all have to appeal. We have to listen to each other. And again, it is up to the candidate. And just push this message a lot, people. The basic message. We have to combat what the DNC says and push the message that it's up to the candidates to unify the party, not people you meet on social media. And you don't get by screaming at your friends. The candidates have to listen to us. I mean, we're stuck with Tallarico now. So he's the guy who has to be reaching out, and he has to get rid of Carbo and just make sure that happens too. My screen keeps blanking out on me here. So all right. So that's it. I'm done. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm glad for this conversation a little bit more positive, but I really got to go. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Please upgrade to paid if you can, so you're insured. It's ensured you'll continue to get my posts because there's been a lot of subscription erosion lately. People get unsubscribed, and it's not me. But yeah, please subscribe and support however you can. But please keep coming back. We'll keep doing these messages. We are going to win. We got to change the attitude. We got to fight the establishment. The establishment is what got us here. Since when did it become this thing that everybody pressures each other to obey the establishment? What the fuck? So that's what we got to change. But love you all. Love you all. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend. Bye 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 bye.